All right, this is my attempt to test out the screencasting software that I mentioned in class, and I also wanted to give just a brief overview of a couple of the Audacity editing functions, a couple of the important things that you're going to want to know about in order to use Audacity successfully. So I've gone ahead and opened up the Stevie Wonder track that we were working with in class. And first, let's think about a couple of the very simple edits. So a lot of the basic functions of Audacity work just like Microsoft Word or any other kind of word processor. You can highlight things, you can Command-C to copy, or Command-X to cut them out, or Command-V to paste them. You can use these in keyboard shortcuts, or there are also buttons within Audacity that you can work with. So for example, I'm going to start here at the beginning, and I'm going to play a little bit of the intro. So, number one, the first thing to notice is that this is a very long audio file. It's got this big silent tail on it. First, I'm going to highlight all of that and delete it. Then I'm going to go up in my menu, and there is this set of magnifying glasses. I should say that the Audacity interface looks a little bit different depending on how you resize your window. My window is a little bit small right now for the screencasting, so my magnifying glasses are over here. I'm going to pick the rightmost one, which has this logo of sort of two arrows on a straight line, called Fit Project, and that's going to resize the view so that my project fits perfectly within the window, like that. So this is much better, but still not very detailed. So what you can also do is use the other magnifying glasses to zoom in on the spot that you want to see. You'll see the numbers changing across the top, or the scale changing right now. This is 15 seconds over here. The main audio comes in about 20 seconds. So now we can see the contours of the music in the audio. The farther something gets away from this central line, the louder it is. So we can sort of see the attacks of the piano notes here. The chord is, the farther from the central line it gets. You can kind of see that the volume picks up. There's little lighter notes, then bum, bum, bum. You can see those three big chords right there in the audio. Right, so for now we don't want to work with the slow introduction. So what I might do is highlight it. I can either hit my delete button, or we can go up to one of these two buttons. This one with the gap in the middle of it will silence the audio while leaving it in, which is sometimes useful. So the timeline doesn't change, the audio just goes away. I'm going to hit undo. The undo button's right here, by the way. And instead I want to trim it. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. So we'll cut that out in post, or not. So instead, I'm going to highlight this, hit delete, get rid of the slow introduction. So now we start right on the band's introduction. Right. So what we want next is I want to find the part of the music that I want to work with. So I know that this happens around 3:20, 3:30, something like that. What I want to do is work with the choruses. Let's go back a little further.
So clear to me that you're my dream come true.
Right there.
There's no way that I'll be losing. And golden lady.
Out so I can see the whole project. I've got my cursor there, and I'm going to drag from 3:10 or so all the way to the beginning. Get rid of everything before that. So now we should start right on. Perfect. So
Golden lady, I'd like to go there.
step each time. So, number one, I'd like to show you how to fade in and out. And this is very simple. All you have to do is highlight the segment of audio that you would like to fade in, for example. Go to Effect, Fade In. This gives you that nice effect of starting from nothing and coming in from there. So we should be right about here. There we go. So just for the sake of argument, I can also undo that. We can change the audio, any of the positive numbers here, or we can reduce the audio, any of the negative numbers here. And you'll see what happens to the waveform. It gets massively compressed when I've reduced the audio like that, or it could be massively expanded if I wanted to change the audio in absolute terms. That's not what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and have a nice little fade in here. So what I think might be a fun little demonstration is 3 of the crazier audio editing tools that Audacity gives you, which are to change the speed of the recording, either with pitch shift or without, or you can change the pitch of the recording without changing the speed. So there are 3 different options here. And if I run through them very quickly, change tempo of the recording is going to let you change the speed of the recording without altering the pitch. Change pitch is going to let you alter the pitch without changing the speed. And changing speed, sort of paradoxically, is going to do both at once. So if you make the pitch higher, the recording will get faster. If you make, if you want to make the speed slower, the pitch will also go lower. They vary directly with one another. They vary proportionally. So what I want to do maybe is one of those sort of goofy effects that you sometimes see on YouTube. You see these videos like Star Wars, except that it speeds up every time a laser goes off, so that by the end it's sort of just ridiculously fast and flying by faster than you can watch it. I think I maybe want to do as a demo Golden Lady, except that the pitch goes down a half step each time he says Golden Lady. So that's a bunch of times. So if we just listen to what we're going to be working with, we have, there's 1, 2. So we sort of get it twice at the beginning of the verse. Here, 3, 4. And what really makes this interesting is the modulation is going to happen and go back up a half step. So that's sort of what we're doing. Second one is on the right here. Go down. So I want to select, I'm going to have my cursor right here, project to fit, so that I can go all the way to the end. Apply my change pitch effect. So I want to go down a semitone, and it can sort of do this, and it translates that into the actual pitch that it's going to use in frequency terms. So let's do that. Now we should be able to hear it. So we're watching for our next one. So just a hair before where we started there, right in this little bit there. I'm going to highlight there to the end of the piece again. Same thing. And immediately after that, we need to have another one, right? Here's our next one. We see it in the audio, and we hear it about to start. Highlight from there, go down. Change pitch, again, down a semitone. Now we listen to the next one. Let's do it sort of more extremely and more obviously. So one was right there. This is a little bit sloppy. We could go into the waveform. We could play it a few times. We could be a lot more accurate with this. But for right now, all I want to do, not change speed. I want to change pitch. There we go, another semitone down. Immediately after, there's here's the next one. Effect, change pitch, down a semitone. So let's hear. We should have gone down like 6 semitones by now. I'm not sure that's exactly. So it cancels the modulation. That might give us a cleaner output, but for now, that's sort of the basics of how you would make some sort of a transformation. Finally, I want to highlight sort of the adding silence feature, which is the easiest way to put some space into the timeline without moving anything around. It's going to automatically insert a bit of silence. So we can see right here, this I think is about where our first pitch change happened, so let's listen. Yeah, so this is a pitch change, right about there, maybe a hair earlier. And I'm just going to go to Generate, Silence. The default right now is on 1 minute. I don't need that much silent. I want, let's see, 1 second, or let's say 0.5 seconds of silence. Oops, that was too quick. So it was already too small. That was like a 5/100ths of a second instead of a half a second. But we get the idea. This is the way to insert something and automatically push back the rest of the timeline. So if you need to put 20 seconds of spoken commentary in the middle of something, this is how you would make space for it. So that's just a simple little introduction to you can sort of do the very simplest edits of copying and pasting and rearranging things. You can add silence to push parts of your timeline around. And finally, you can do fun things like pitch changes and tempo changes and things like that. So this is a little introduction to that. And one more thing that I'd like to show is the fact that you can add additional tracks. So for example, if I wanted to have my narration, I would put it in a separate track. I can then use the volume controls to balance them out. If I want to, I can pan one of them left or right so that I can sort of hear the music in my left ear and hear the commentary in my right ear or something like that. Or if you want to just put it a little bit off center. And basically moving between these two tracks is how you're going to put your audio podcast analysis together. You would maybe start with some narration, drop in the other track showing a musical example, then you're going to go backwards and talk about that musical example, and so on and so forth from there.